Imagine standing at a crossroads where every path before you has already been decided. No matter which way you turn, your course is fixed. This is the essence of Calvinism, a belief system centered on the idea that God has predetermined every aspect of human life, including salvation and damnation. The 5 core principles of Calvinism are often summarized by the acronym TULIP. Total hereditary depravity. This doctrine suggests that humanity is born in sin, entirely corrupt and incapable of choosing righteousness. Some interpretations propose that all people participated in Adam's sin, either because they were spiritually present in him or because he acted as their representative. Others suggest that humanity inherited a sinful nature from Adam, making sin inevitable. However, an opposing perspective asserts that each soul is created pure and that individuals are accountable for their own choices, rather than inheriting guilt from Adam. If sin is only a voluntary act, then moral responsibility lies with the individual rather than being a condition imposed at birth. Unconditional election. According to this doctrine, God made his choice about each person's eternal fate before the world was created. This selection is not based on any human action or merit, but solely on divine will. Those who are chosen for salvation cannot lose it, while those predestined for condemnation cannot change their fate. A significant challenge to this idea is the question of free will. If human decisions are entirely predetermined, how can moral responsibility exist? Some interpretations attempt to soften this view by suggesting that God predestined only certain outcomes, while still allowing human choice to play a role. Limited atonement. This doctrine follows logically from unconditional election. If God has only chosen certain individuals for salvation, then Christ's atonement must be exclusively for them. The idea here is that Jesus did not die for all people, but only for the elect. This notion raises questions about the nature of God's love and justice. If salvation is only available to a select few, does that align with the scriptural message that God desires all to be saved? Irresistible grace. This principle suggests that those elected by God will be drawn to salvation by his grace, whether they wish it or not. This is not based on an individual's response, but is a divine action that overrides human resistance. Some variations of this doctrine suggest that divine intervention simply enables a person to believe rather than forcing them. A key question arises: if grace cannot be resisted, does that mean those who are not saved were deliberately excluded? Additionally, if faith is purely an act of God, where does human accountability fit into the equation? Perseverance of the saints. This belief holds that once a person is saved, they can never be lost. Some interpretations claim that the elect cannot commit sin at all, while others suggest that sin may occur but will not result in a loss of salvation. A more moderate position is that while a believer may stray, God will ultimately bring them back to faith before death. This doctrine presents challenges when considering passages of Scripture that warn believers against falling away. If salvation cannot be lost under any circumstances, what do these warnings mean? Understanding these 5 points is essential to engaging in meaningful discussions about salvation and free will. These doctrines attempt to define the nature of God's sovereignty and human responsibility, but they also raise profound questions about justice, love, and personal accountability. As we explore these concepts, we must weigh them carefully against Scripture, seeking to discern truth while recognizing the complexity of the discussion.